Good news, everyone.
Have you fingered me yet? Okay, awesome. Welcome everybody to the Bandit Radio Hour.
I'm not bleeping that. That's staying.
Merce gave me the finger, so I'm allowed to start talking. Everybody, hey, welcome on YouTube, Rumble, all that jazz, RSS. We're sitting here spitting some facts. Not actually any of that at all. We're talking nonsense tonight. Know this, when we normally do the show, we just like kind of have an outline, like not a script by any stretch of the imagination.
We kind of just let the world make it for us.
Yeah, we just like, hey, remember we should like talk about these 3 or 4 things, maybe 5 or 6. We didn't even do that tonight because that's just off the cuff. But anyways, what the hell are you doing now that you're done with melons?
I'm not done with melons. We're done actually putting them in the ground, but I'm still staying and helping running a tractor to get caught up because they, like almost anybody these days, cannot find help or employees.
In agriculture, man, if you can find a good person that wants to do it, it's worth putting in the time to train them. But when you put in the time to train someone who's not worth it, it makes you want to lose your damn mind.
The hardest part is it's somebody that's worth a damn. Usually isn't just free twiddling their thumbs. They already have a job.
Yeah.
So now if somebody's free, you wonder why.
Yeah, and like in your case, you're a lazy asshole that never works at all.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
I'm like everybody's like personal do-boy.
Yeah, you are. It's like
everybody's like, oh, this is Mercer's off season.
Hey, can you help us work cows? Hey, can you help us plant melons? Like, I'm going to law school. Please leave me alone.
Yeah, no, I fly all summer long to have like the winters off, and it's like, hey, I know who's not doing anything right now, and I have no like good reason to not do it. Like, hey, what do you do tomorrow? Why? Because I can't be like, oh, I have to work. No, it's a Tuesday. I could just be like eating a sandwich at noon at home, watching TV. Leave me alone.
Or working for free around your place.
I'd rather just be eating a sandwich.
Yeah, yep. But I got done with like service and track. Oh, I've been putting out hay and mineral, which I mean, you know what that is. But all you fine folks at home, it's like 50-pound bags of sand that you load up a truck with and go around to different cows and different pastures.
It's not actual sand, but
it looks like sand. Like I'm trying, because when someone says mineral, if you don't know what they're talking about, that can mean like a big rock.
They crave the mineral.
They do. They like it. What is there an innuendo? I'm not.
No, there's a meme. You don't remember all the memes that went like super popular with the goats?
Nope.
Oh, there was a thing with goats, and it'd be like they crave the mineral, and it's because like they'd be like scaling a massive cliff face just to be able to lick the salt deposits off the side.
Okay, I understand.
And so then there's like any times that somebody like really wanted something or something with it, it'd be like
great job conveying a meme. Yeah, audibly, I could see that. No, I missed that meme phenomenon.
So anytime there'd be like a weird face with goat or goat doing something, it's like what like just everybody's comments would be they crave the mineral.
Maybe not so much. Hello, fellow internet trolls, like I thought I was. I just tried to do a meme audibly. I couldn't do it as good as you. But anyways, yeah, I got. I've been screwed up on waking up because I'm such a wonderful, awesome host of this fine radio hour. I put my damn phone on silent every time we do this in case someone calls or if the house on fire. I can be like, that's secondary. First, recording stuff.
I'll sift through the ashes after the show.
After the show, Mercer's stuff didn't burn down. We can still do the show. We'll record me crying or whatever. We'll get us advertisers. Well, it'll work. But no. So I the past week. Well, I turn it up after I leave here because I want to hear my phone going off. But so if I just hold the button to turn it down, it turns everything down. If I just hold the button to turn it up, it just turns the ringer up. And then later on, I'll be watching YouTube or something like that. I'm like, oh, I want to hear this. So, it didn't turn up. I'll turn that up. But my alarm never gets turned up unless I manual analog, go in there and do it myself. And it's always Thursday or Friday. I go, I'll correct the error. And yeah.
Then it's time to record again and you put it right back on silent.
Pretty much. And yeah, this is a bonus episode. So we're, like I said earlier, we're shooting from the hip tonight. 2 things we got to get on. We're staying away from current events, but one,
because I think that's pretty hardcore in the news right now. Everything's screwed. It is what it is.
Fun analogy and story hour from the Bandit. But 2 corrections to the last episode. We got our internal fact checker extraordinaire, the Bandit, was re-listening to his shit. And I said, hey, you know, that was like that really cool thing I said about Soviet helicopters getting taken out by Afghani catapults. Man, I'd like to see where I got that from. And I want y'all to know, while I was on a tractor, I Googled that for like 20 minutes. And I realized, oh, I must have just pulled the story out of my ass. Or I heard something similar. Or maybe I saw a Simpsons part where they hit a helicopter with a catapult and just went, yeah, probably the Afghanis did that to the Soviets. I don't know, but that, as far as I can
patent pending, Hollywood.
That never happened as far as I can research. So that's a good old my bad. What the hell was the other one? There was something else I wanted to elaborate on.
A little bit of everything. I think we were just going to go down the line and just basically wing it and see how well this went.
Well, yeah, that. But one of the things I wanted to self-correct. I want to put this big asterisk on a lot of like the stories we report on, stuff we we see on our phone and go, hey, what about this? A lot of them are like developing as we do them, and I can like kind of shoot from the hip and guess to where they're going. And if you like, some of our record lately has been pretty good, but just I don't know. There's times I'm re-listening to it like the narcissist that I am, and I'm like, I wonder if that's going to end up the way I said it, but we'll keep track somehow. We'll see how that goes. But dude, besides waking up late, I just got done with a 6-hour drive to Fort Lauderdale and back after working all day.
How is the lovely East Coast?
All right. Small fib. Didn't quite make it to Fort Lauderdale. My baby's mama was nice enough to meet me like off of the interstate, and she actually saves me. So like Florida has 3 main north and south byways through it. There's 95, which is Interstate 95. There's 75, Interstate 75. And then there's in the middle, there's 27. That's not an interstate, but it's just kind of a big highway. And that's my main artery. I go down to meet her mom in South Florida. But her mom's nice enough to meet me like just outside of the city. Because when I go into traffic, I'm a pretty easygoing person. Doesn't take a lot to upset me. You put me in that environment of like lockdown traffic, dude, I start getting itchy. I start getting, I guess like...
That's me around most large groups of people.
Yeah, like my hair stands up on the back of my head. Like I get the thought of like, if I had to do this every day, like a lot of...
I'm not saying violence is okay, but I see why the cities are more violent.
It really makes more sense. I'm like, dude, you're stuck around this many people. No wonder you're black-pilled, like freaking out. Have you ever had to ride a city bus?
Not an actual full city. I mean, I did when I went to UF. They had the UF buses.
That's like college bus.
Yeah, but it still take you around the city, but it wasn't like an actual. Like,
it's in a college town.
Yeah, it wasn't like a Chicago bus.
In West Palm, place I was staying, and I did not have access to my truck for like 6 weeks, and I had to take the city bus. And dude, you want to talk about losing faith in humanity pretty rapidly? And like, it wasn't even the crazy stuff you see on like YouTube shorts of where it's like people with their privates out or pissing in the corner or drunk people doing crazy shit. Just the average person that rides the bus. It's like you're looking at one of them old Soviet films of all the people in the gulag that are just kind of sitting there lifeless, just kind of staring at the wall. And these people are much fatter than those poor gulag people. But it's like the same look of blank, just like, this has been my life for 50 years, is catching this bus and riding with these people.
That sounds so depressing.
And a fat lady sitting in the front with a pad and pen. And like when I sat down, I remember her going, "Sir, excuse me, what has been your experience riding this bus line?" And me, Huckleberry Finn, straight from the farm, was like, I don't know, I think it's pretty nice. I just got to pay like this little bit of money and I get like to ride, get to ride around town. She goes, "Well, let me tell you the complaints that everybody has had." And she just starts, by the way, I haven't even said like hello to this woman or anything. She's just listing off all the complaints. I finally go like...
She's like a Shutter Island person, and she thinks she's a reporter with the Daily Press.
My dumbass gets the impression of like, oh, maybe like she works for the bus company and she's doing like a survey or so. And I go, I just ask her, I'm like, do you work for the and the black guy driving goes, no the hell she does not. And I'm like, huh? And this is just some crazy lady just taking people's opinions of the bus. And I'm like, and don't get me wrong, there were some actually all right, in the middle of all that darkness, when you meet someone from a different walk of life that you just click with, it's like a ray of sunshine and hope. There was this Mexican guy that was one of our roommates, and I think technically he was Guatemalan, but grew up
some kind of Spanish,
some kind of Cholo Spanish. He was a typical Cholo dude, and whereas so many people I was around, I don't know, it was either the movie caricature of rich white kids, with complete with sweaters around their neck, or white junkies, or cholos, or
there was no middle ground. Everything was extremes.
Everything was extremes, and when you ran across some good people, it was nice. But dude, how much people cared about their Jordans blew my mind. White people caring about.
I saw an article. You can rent them now for by the day.
There's a part of me that gets if you grew up poor and you want to take care of your nicest shoes, it'd almost be I don't know, maybe my nicest cowboy boots or something like that. It's I'm only gonna wear these on very special occasions.
I always say that, and that never happens.
Yeah,
destroy them.
You wear them to a wedding and drink some beer and just start kicking stuff.
Or it's something freak happens and you got to go build some fence, and it's always.
I got one pair. I call them my Dwight Yoakams, and they stay.
What happened to the one wood sole pair?
That's the Farinis. Oh, dude, I love those boots. They looked so gay.
Loved them so much you never took them off.
Never took them off. They were they had wooden soles on them, and I thought that was so cool. And I was so proud of myself. I've been to the state cattlemen's convention 3 times in my life, which is. Depending on
it's a glorified party.
It's a glorified party, and there's some great people that go to cattle conventions, and there's some dumbass cowboys that go to cattlemen's conventions. Some of them are multi-millionaire dumbass cowboys, and some of them are multi-millionaire awesome people. And everything.
A lot of it's the ranchers. It's their one vacation a year. They're all looking forward to it. So it's I got to go 3 meetings, but the rest of the time I'm gonna be hammered beside the pool.
But I go there, it's everyone's got their Stetson cowboy hat on and they're freshly starched. Not a suit, because that would be too much. But it's the suit pants with the nice button-up polo tucked in. And I go and I sit down, there's circular tables where probably 6 people can sit at a table, and there's another table here, another table there. So where mine is, we got to turn around and look at the speaker. I turn around to look at him, and the guy sitting right in front of me, who's in a suit, big old corn-fed boy sitting forward. I look down. He's wearing a pair of Farinis. I look down, I'm like, man, me and him got the same boots. And I just I wait for the speaker to stop. And I just lean forward and just go, those are some nice boots you're wearing. Dude.
Initially, he probably didn't.
Dude, I saw all the tension in this corn-fed guy go what queer bait behind me just hit on me? And I see him tense up and go to and I just put out my jeans and pull up my boots and I start pointing. I'm like, nice boots, right? Ha ha, that was funny. And he looks at me and goes, nice boots. All right. Yeah, man.
You came so close to death.
I'm about to get my ass kicked by every cowboy in this room. They're about to go Charlie Daniels on me on Highway Uneasy Rider on 88. It's bam. It's bad. But no, that was funny. That was.
Is that the pair you had to take the knife to?
No, those were Tony Llamas. That made me feel bad.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the same pair.
Dude, that was a good pair of boots. Say exactly what you said. It was one of those my first pair of Tony Llamas. For those of you who don't know, that's pretty high quality work.
My new Tony Llamas.
My new Tony Llamas, and so pretty. Long story short, most expensive boot I had at the time. Went to kick them off after I'd worked in them a couple of days, and the insole came out and wedged my ankle in it, in such a way. It was like a Chinese finger trap, but on my foot. If I put my foot down, it was fine, no problem. But anytime I tried taking it out at any angle, the inner layer would come undone and choke my ankle. So, losing my shit, like a dog caught in a bear trap for 2 2 hours, way too long. I'm trying to fight this, and like my ankle hurts, my arms. I'm tired from like physically wrestling myself for 2 hours. And I just took out a pocket knife and just cut right down the side of them and got my foot out. And I was like, I was closer to cutting my ankle off. Like,
should I just completely cut off like the whole raised part, made some like sweet loafers?
Who was it? I saw my Aunt Betty the other day, and I was like, man, there's a cool pair of boots. You got a zipper going down the side of them. She's like my great aunt. She's like almost 90, still kicking and rolling around stuff. And she was, oh, hell, got them at Goodwill. They're my new favorite pair. And I'm like, hell yeah, Aunt Betty from Georgia. But yeah, boots are nice. Hey, one thing I was thinking about on the way here, and I had a talk with my oldest brother, the Hulk, Pocket Hulk, Matt.
I like that, Pocket Hulk.
Pocket Hulk. I'm taller. I'm the tallest out of the brothers, but I don't say that too loudly around them. But no, here's my question. What's the best fight? We talked about fights a couple of podcasts ago. I'm going to dip my toes back in that water. What's the best fight that you've seen with family or siblings? No names have to really get named. Unless you really want to, then go right ahead.
I haven't really seen, like I said, the one I mentioned was about my brother-in-law. Got in. And like me and my siblings, my sister.
By the way, hang on, time out. If you go back and listen to that, him tell that story, like 3 episodes ago or something?
Yeah, I don't know the one off the top of my head.
You have 2 brother-in-laws.
Yeah.
I totally, while you're telling it, picturing your other brother-in-law.
Oh, no.
I'm like, when was he at a party that I was at? When was it? It's like, then you bring up, it's the one, I wasn't there, I'm like, oh yeah, of course, that makes sense. So, sorry. Go back and listen, and I sound retardedly confused. That's why. But, no. So, have you seen any good ones with family?
No. I've heard some stories, but I think I was like still too young to ever remember happened. Like when would have been like my dad and like his brothers would have been like younger ages and like had parties and stuff. I've heard like my older cousins talk about things that have happened, but I don't remember. I grew up with sisters, so there's not really like. You don't just gonna like a
dude, you can beat the shit out of them.
I know, right? But I couldn't. So
you
it was like a double-edged
strength.
sword. Like,
you got denser bones.
The worst thing about sisters is like, or man, like the middle sister, she would like do her best to like egg me on to make me angry.
Oh, that's.
And my mom would always be like, oh, "You're just gonna make it mad, and then what are you gonna do?" And then she would just scream and go running, and I would catch her, and there's like nothing I could do, so I would just like.
Shake her?
Yeah, or like throw her into the couch or the furniture or something.
That's nice of you.
What am I going to do? I can't just go,
slug
Chris Brown on her sister.
Roundhouse kick her, throw her through a door. That'd be some cool shit, dude.
So there's like a lot of like wrestling stuff, stuff like that when we were younger, but not really any just,
Well, I think the fight episode, I talked about my 2 Herculean brothers fighting each other. At least to me, I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of people out there that can whoop their ass. They whipped my ass.
That would be I would pay to watch that fight.
Yeah. Did I ever talk about me fighting them?
It seems like a bad idea, but no.
Yeah, my whole life's full of bad ideas. So, like, all right.
Welcome to the Bandit Radio Hour.
Yes, yeah, cheers, everybody. So, all right. So, this is fight number 1. I guess I'm going to go in chronological order. This is with the oldest, the Hulk. And, by the way, both of these fights, I'm asking for it pretty hard. Well, I'll let y'all be the judge of it. See who the one who initiated force and who the culprit was. So, this is back when I'm like 11 years old. My oldest brother, Matt, is 6 years older than me, so he's 17 at the time. And this was before he quit his very hard partying. We ain't gotta get into too many details on that, but hard partier. And it's the next morning after he partied very hard. And he is like sleeping, and I think I had a TV in my room, but all I had was like basic channels, and the TV like in the family room had like cable. Had not direct TV, not
so
actually
you had like
cable.
UPN 44.
I had UPN 44, but in like the big room, we had, here's the weird thing, it wasn't direct TV or dish or anything like that. It was like a blue screen with bright, bold white letters that would be like Galaxy 8 Network. And And we had a giant satellite dish in our backyard.
We had one, and the dish moved.
Yeah, if you went on these different, so like Galaxy 8 would be like a group of channels, like
like A
channels.
and then like a number.
Yeah, then A-9 would be another group of 20 channels. Like maybe that first one had, but each one of those chunks, if you went to a different chunk of channels and you went outside and looked at your satellite dish, you could watch this 15-yard wide satellite dish move in your backyard.
Yeah, that's what we had.
Yeah, so my brother Matt had crashed staying up all night right there on the couch where it was. And I can't remember precisely how it started, but I think it was me wanting to watch cartoons because I'd woken up early on a Saturday morning. And like he kind of wakes up and is like, hey, I'm trying to sleep, turn that down. Or something like that. And I go, I'm going to keep watching what I want to. And like, you're like, hey, I tried being nice about this. I'm your older brother. Turn it down. I think like he came and like grabbed the remote and turned it down. Looking back, I don't even think he turned it down where I couldn't hear it. I was just kind of feeling pissy at 11 years old. And he turned it down and he took the remote and put it like underneath his pillow.
Didn't have your second bowl of Sugar Smacks.
I was pissy. And I said, all right, I'm going to make the smartest decision I've ever made in my life. I'm going to run and jump on his belly. Like a moron. Like an idiot.
He's literally jumping on a bear.
Pretty much. I still to this day don't know what possessed me. But I ran full out Kamehameha, like double heel dropped on his like stomach. And he's now waking up out of a hangover fully to me Kamehameha in his stomach. And he like gets up and he's like,
I'm genuinely angry.
Dude, like there's a few, like there's times
I have woken up from hangovers and
there's times they were mean, there are times I was a shithead. And dude, I do it and it's like as soon as I do it, the rush of fear that runs through me of like, why did I do this?
Like a suicide jumper, the second you leave the ledge, you regret it.
Absolutely. And I was like, and dude, I remember all of my instincts kicking on and it was like, get away from him as quickly as possible. And I go and I run out our front door and they were putting in like an irrigation system for our lawn or something, or for my mom's garden. And there was a long PVC pipe laying across the ground. Now, I cannot stress this enough. I called my brother before I did this podcast. Like, I just want to make sure I remember all this correctly, and I'm not imagining any of this from like 11 years old, because it sounds a little fantastical. He assured me the story I gave him was straight. So, saying that, after jumping on his stomach and running out the front door, I see laying on the ground what I later would think would be a 3/4 inch PVC pipe that's about 8 foot, maybe 7 foot long. Maybe shorter than that. I don't know. Enough to look like a good whacking stick. A really good whacking stick. And my stupid...
With some reach so you don't got to get too close.
Exactly. Exactly. And my stupid, idiotic caveman head goes, that's a weapon. He doesn't have a weapon. I win! There's no way this can possibly go wrong. I reach down, I grab, and like by the time I grab it and turn around, he has come through. He is now fully awake, fully mobile, Terminator killing machine, running out the front door, and like I rear it back in a swinging position. And by the way, I'm a skinny 11-year-old. I'm nowhere near athletic. I am a goofy bastard at 11 with a big head. But I grab this, and for the first time in my life, I feel comfortable in a batting stance that my father tried so hard to work on for so many years fruitlessly. But this one time, I got it down. I rear this thing back, and he stops. Full stops and goes, you won't. And I swung that as hard as I could. In my memory, I smashed it across his face. When I say smashed, I mean it came apart. Looking back, I don't think I actually did that. I know for a fact I whacked the shit out of his face as hard as I could. As hard as I could. And it felt like...
I'm just picturing from his point of view. He's now woken up with a hangover to his brother kicking and runs outside only to get smashed in the face with a pipe. I would shoot you.
Oh, this gets worse. This gets worse. I put all of my might and fury into that. Hit him in the face. And dude, I swear to God, it's like something off the Terminator. His head whacks, The rest of his body doesn't move an inch, doesn't budge, and he just turns his head and goes, I'll never forget the words. He goes, "You are fucking dead." And I go, "I'm fucking dead." Dude, I turn around, I run so hard, and I don't know, maybe fear propelled me for the first time in my life to outrun this Terminator. I run out back, and so both of my brothers had like old Honda 450 Rancher four-wheelers, right? I didn't have one of those. I had like one of those like 80cc for like 9-year-old four-wheelers. Like not quite one of them big bad boys, but a smaller one. Next, like, caveman instinct I remember getting is I can get away with them from if I get on the four-wheeler.
Flee
as far as I can. Use transportation to go over the hill and through the orange grove and away from this madman that I've admittedly pissed off. I get on my four-wheeler miraculously, dude. Turn the key.
God forbid you have to suffer the actions of your own
Yes, I don't want to face my consequences. I just want to watch cartoons. That's all I started out doing. Dude, get on my little 80cc Honda. I don't know if it's 80cc. It was a smaller, little, tiny, cheap four-wheeler.
What a manly getaway.
Yes. Dude, fired it up. It starts miraculously. Hit the gas. Pull out of the barn. And like
just a little wing.
Dude, I don't know. I must have hit him several times with the pipe or something. Because I got away from him for like a minute. I got away from him long enough.
We had a hangover. He wasn't just going to be in full sprint.
But I got it far enough away from him that I was able to get on the four-wheeler and turn it around. And it's like we got our house and then we got the barn in the back. And like I had to make a U-turn kind of from my house around the barn and face back towards my house. And by the time I did that, he looks like he is foaming at the mouth, walking down my, like, in a little sprint towards me on the driveway.
Like, hey, come here. I need to talk.
Here's the thing. I got, like, 2 options. I can either swing way right and go way around him where he could, like, never reach me. And just, I don't know, get out of my driveway and go down a country road and chill for a couple of hours until all this blows over. Or I can take the risky play. And I can drive the son of a bitch right at him.
You're 90. I picture like Kenny from South Park in his go-go action Bronco.
It's something slightly more powerful than that. Just the smallest of gas engines. Dude, I'm feeling lucky. I gun it at him with all of those throttles and all of that 2 horsepower or whatever it has. And I hit him. And he, like, attempts to grab me as I think, I don't know what went through his mind exactly. But I think his thing was, like, I'm going to kind of step to the side and just rip him off of this and proceed to killing him. It didn't work out quite like he planned, but it didn't work out quite like I planned either. Like, he kind of stepped to the side and kind of grabbed me, but I kind of used the four-wheeler and ran over and crawled up the side of him while he kind of had me and kind of pulling me under the four-wheeler with him. I somehow tear away, and I've successfully ran over half of him, and so overcome with joy that this has worked, I turn around to look, I'm kind of like hanging sideways off the four-wheeler, and I've kind of jerked the steering wheel. Well, I'm looking back, and I'm like, it worked. It worked. And then I feel shearing pain all over my body, and 4 lines, like across my face, across my chest, and I have crashed into a barbed wire fence that is beside my house. And the essence of him, like, grabbing me and pulling me down and jerking the handlebar and me getting excited, I've driven like 20 feet through a ditch and crashed into a barbed wire fence. The Go-Go Action Bronco continues to go, like, in between the wires, if I'm being real about this. Like, it doesn't even break any of them. But my, like, Raggedy Ann ass, like, just gets captured in it. And I remember thinking, like, oh my God, this hurts. I can feel, like, my shirt caught in the barbed wire, my pants, and, like, my immediate reaction is, like, all right, this hurts really bad. I don't know how bad. Like, stuff might be broken that hurts so bad. But I'm slowly, like, starting to pull myself out of the barbed wire. And then I remember, like, wait, where's Matt? And I look, and it is like something out of a damn horror movie. He is, like, slowly getting up and walking towards me. I'm like, oh no. Oh no. And I'm like trying to get myself, and I'm like halfway out of the barbed wire. I think my pants were barely caught, screaming. I'm just screaming, like all of my decisions are coming back on me. And I'm like trying to get away, and dude, he just jerks, like I think with a swift motion, rips my pants through the barbed wire and pulls me down. I was like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. I remember thinking in my head, like, he is gonna beat the shit out of me. And he proceeded to. Yeah, I don't even really remember what he did, but I know he kicked my ass. And it, like, I remember, I think my mom and dad getting on to him, and then he explained what happened, and they looked at me like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I'm like, I just wanted to watch cartoons. I swear, that's all.
How are your parents not in a padded room raising you three?
Divorce. You know how, like, they like to say in the movies, like, it's not your fault? My parents were good. Like, they said that. It's not your fault. But looking back, I'm like, I think y'all might have been lying y'all's asses off. And God bless y'all. Y'all are good folk. That's why I'm not big on marriage. Both my parents, like, some of the most awesome people I ever met. And I'm like, oh, if kids can do this to you, I'm just going to take mine and try this solo and try not to wreck and ball anybody else's life. Any ladies out there want to prove me wrong that ain't batshit crazy and somewhere in my generation?
He is single. Come on down.
I take that back. I don't trust you. You're probably a fed if it works out too good to be true.
Yes, come meet me at this disclosed location. I'd love to talk to you over dinner.
I swear to God, like a country boy thing growing up, and we all thought we were so cool, but looking back, it's so cringe. It's like, hey girl, want to go on a date? Oh, what do you have in mind? I don't know. What about something unique, like you coming out in the woods and like going in my mind, it's like, why don't you go pasture riding or something like that? But like, I'm playing it back through my head as an adult. I'm like, well, I take you out where no one can hear you scream or into the woods.
It's like that Always Sunny episode. It's like, it's implied.
Yeah.
But what's implied?
Yeah.
Well, no, of course we're not going to rape them. But it's implied that they're out here.
And surprisingly, like, a lot of women were like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And I'm like, cool. And then they get to meet me, and I'm like, oh, obviously this ain't working. So well, I bid you adieu. Have a good time. I like to talk about history and conspiracy theories. So,
and I have a podcast. So
yeah, but hey, for the others that like it, that makes for fun conversation. That's one part I really dig. So yeah, that was the fight with the Hulk.
I feel like that was 100% self-inflicted.
Yeah.
And you almost got away.
With the Flash, the couple of times I fought him, it's my middle brother, it's been a back and forth. But the one I'll talk about tonight, it wasn't a real fight. I mean, we were boxing. But, alright, so here is the genius behind us growing up. And this might explain some things about me. Did you ever come to the boxing tournament at my house?
No.
I'm sorry. Bad friend. Well, in my defense, it might have been at the time that you were a sheltered child. And
I wasn't allowed to do anything for like my senior year.
So we got boxing gloves, and we decided we'd have a boxing tournament at my house. And there's quite a bit of people there. There's probably about like 10 friends, like my age. My brothers had a couple of friends there, and just different people, no weight classes, no nothing like that. Just strap on some gloves, make a makeshift ring, and go in there and beat the shit out of each other. Here's the thing. My middle brother, Chris, the Flash, like, if there's something he's stupid amazing at, it's boxing. It's dumb. He shouldn't be able to move like he does. It's dumb, especially if you meet him and how he talks and how he walks. It doesn't make any sense. However, me being the total intelligent Chad that I am, I think I boxed like 6 people that day, and then I come to later, and we filmed all this for great evidence at the time. I'm pretty sure I had several concussions by the end of the 6th one, especially because, Kyle.
You sleep them off.
Yeah, I remember like at the end of it going like, guys, I am tired. I am just. I got the sleepies. I can't explain it. And like, man, you
smell cake?
You ought to get in there and fight some more and liven you up. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. Well, after a good couple, some of them I was very proud of. I know I got knocked out once, but when I say knocked out, not like laying on the ground out. Like I got hit in the head and I like blanked out for a second, and then I like came to as I was hitting the ground. But
yeah, so I got like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I was all right. But then my brother Chris gets there, and he goes, hey, and it's mostly my friends, and everyone's got like their testosterone out, or they're, it's like a bunch of, I think we're all like 13 to 14. He's like 20 or something like that. And
so he's like, oh,
no,
let me play.
And really, in my brother's defense, a lot of the boys there, one of them's a fussle.
Yeah.
One of them's they're kind of going, I'll box you, Chris. I'm like, guys, maybe I really suck at fighting, but I don't think y'all want to box him. I'm like, no, we'll do it. And Chris goes, I don't want to box any of y'all ears. I'll tell you what, though. I'll box my brother with one glove tied behind my back. He goes, my good hand, my right hand. I'll put my right hand tied behind my back, and I'll just box. You can use two hands. I'll just use one. Y'all boys can see how I do. And I'm like, this is my time to shine. I mean, every time I fought him and he's had two hands, I've almost won in my stupid head. I'm like, because, he totally just didn't let me get some of those, like, last punches in or something like that, and just constrained
Just didn't murder his brother?
Yeah. I'm like, him with one hand, I'm going to prove myself in front of my peers, which is the dumbest idea anybody could ever have. But, dude, he smoked me. Have you ever seen them really good boxers do the speed bag?
Yeah.
And they just sit there with their hand at the end of it, and they're just like backhanding it and forward knuckling it and all that. I was the speed bag, dude. He beat my ass 6 ways to Sunday. And in my defense, I got long gangly arms, which are great for reach, but it just takes some energy to make them extend out there. And but when they connect, it's great. But this little Speedy Gonzalez bastard, by the time I could throw one, he'd throw 6. And by the time I ate about 30 of these bastards, he's like, Josh, you want to be done yet? I think I've won. I'm like, I'm smelling a comeback. I ain't hear no bill yet, coach. He proceeded to just kick probably taking it easy on me, but God,
for the love of God, stay down.
And, for the longest time, I really did think, man, I guess I'm just a peaceful guy that shouldn't go around fighting, because I lose a lot of my fights. And then I fought one guy in town that changed. I was like, oh, I guess I'm good at fighting.
I witnessed that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm very surprised.
We thought you were gonna die.
Yeah. All right, one more fight story after this quick break. Boom. We're back. Razzle dazzle, jazz hands for the second time in a row, but this time we actually recorded me doing it, not looking like a jackass. So what? The Rob fight?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I want to say this before, this is a guy that's in my town, and I have a lot of respect for him now, and I think he's a good guy. I think when you're in high school, sometimes there's misinformation and people can be shitheads. I haven't heard any counter information to make me look like a shithead, but here's the story. So I was dating a girl, my girlfriend in high school, and me and her were we'd been dating since middle school, on again, off again. And one of the times we were off again, when I was about 16 years old, she started dating this other guy named Rob. They date for a year or something like that. They break up, and me and her date again, unsurprisingly, what the pattern had been going. And so she comes and tells me, which I don't know how true this is looking back, but I took it as a given at the time, that since she was dating me, he came up to her in the hallway and shoved her against the locker. And now here's the thing. I was the guy in school you could talk a lot of shit to, and I really wouldn't do anything about it. Because in my brain, growing up with 2 dominating people in my life, I would do the math of is this worth an ass whooping? Somebody using sounds to talk to me, even if it's embarrassing? No, not worth an ass whooping. I'm used to this. I can lay down in insults. This really struck me, because I was like, this is a different line. This dude, you're hitting my chick. Now I'm trying to think of how I quite want to say this. I'll just go with it. So she tells me that when I'm done with football practice. The fair is that night, the county fair. This is typical Southern small town bullshit. All the people.
It's all we have.
It's all our entertainment was at the time. And I was raising a steer, and I go to the fair, and she tells me about this after football practice, and I psych myself up. I go at the fair, as soon as she tells me and I'm done with football practice, I am in kill mode. I had never been outside of stupidly challenging my brothers to fights. as I previously mentioned. I go hunting around the fair for him. Now, I don't know if Merce had met up with me at this point or not. Me and Merce are kind of hanging out outside of school a little bit at this point when his parents will let him outside of his cave. Like at the fair.
Yeah, I think I had to get like a signed permission slip probably.
Yeah. And how you ended up, right? Anyways. So I get done taking care of my steer at the life.
Would it have been your senior year?
I think it was my junior year.
Okay, that was my senior year, so I was able to like do a little bit of I was able to like.
You were legally 18 and you could do things.
No, I graduated at 17.
Oh, that's right.
So I couldn't even do it. I didn't even have that excuse.
Right. Nah, yeah, me too. So anyways, I go hunting down the Midway looking for this guy and his group of friends that he's with, and a lot of his friends were the type that always wore camo jackets to school. I don't know, like pretty much everybody in our town grew up country, but I don't know, there were certain people that wore a ton of camo to school, and there were just certain ones that didn't. He was with the group that did. I was friendly with all of them, but beside that point, I got my group of friends with me. Hot 16-year-old hot-headed walking up there, and he's standing right outside the Gravitron. Now, he's older than me. He graduated with you, right?
I think maybe. He had to have.
He's at least a year or two older than me. He's a good couple of inches taller than me. He's probably got a good 20 pounds on me. He's a lean, broad-shouldered,
yeah, if I remember from that, he was bigger than you.
Yeah, he's bigger than me, and he's got a big chin on him. Man. And I go walking up to him, and I remember saying, like, I psyched myself up. I see him, and I walk up, and I go, dude, what you did to my girlfriend was fucked up, and I'm going to beat your ass. And like, I'm all hyped and like psyched up, and he, cool as a cucumber, goes, that's cool. And like that like pisses me off more. And I'm like, and I got like one or two of my friends with me. One was Nick Barrera. Man, I'm not going to do it here because there's a big crowd and everything, but I want to meet you tonight, and I want to beat your ass. And he goes, name the time and place. I go, behind the rodeo grounds. He goes, all right, when? I go, tonight. And he goes, okay, what time? And for the third time, I go, tonight.
He's just calm and collected.
But he really is like, all right, sophomore, junior, whatever, I've already graduated, like, I'll deal with your little punk ass, I guess, like, when, and I'm like, I'm gonna destroy you with might and valor, freedom and righteousness, and he's like, well, whatever. So I go, meet me behind the rodeo grounds, which are just next door to the fair, and it's all, like, dark, like, a lot of shadows, a lot of, you can have a good fight, hell, you probably have a fight inside the rodeo arena, if I really thought about it, and, he goes, sure, man, when you want to see me there, I go, give me 30 minutes. I'll meet you there. And I go walking back with Nick Barrera, and we walk back through the livestock exhibit towards this rodeo grounds. And that's about the time I link up with Merce.
I think I was either there right then, or it happened, or somebody called. I don't know. That's when my memory kicks in from the story. About
this time, I think it's you, Nick Barrera, and I think Tyler Nugent was there, but he had his own truck or something like that.
Yeah,
And I walk behind the rodeo grounds, and I'm like, dude, my adrenaline I can feel my heart beating through my eyeballs. And I'm like, well, fuck, all right, I'm about to fight this dude, I'm about to tear him up. I wait there for like 15 minutes after like the 30-minute mark that we were supposed to meet up. So I've been there for about like 45 minutes. I'm talking, and finally, like, we all got Nextel phones that we talked about last episode. We all got Nextels where everyone's beeping, hey, man, where's he at? And someone goes, well, hey, he said he wouldn't meet you here, but he'd meet you at Joshua Creek Cemetery to fight, which is like a cemetery outside of town. And I go, all right, let's go. And we all load up into Nick Barrera's big red Dodge 2500, and we start rolling that way. And we get Joshua Creek Cemetery. It's just my friends there, not his. And I'm kind of like a little, like, I almost like was expecting to get there and just jump out of the truck and like start a fight. But luckily, on the way to Joshua Creek, I get the bright idea. I'm like, my adrenaline is starting to wane a little bit. No, actually, my bad. I get to Joshua Creek. Let me re-say that. He turns out no show at Joshua Creek. And this is like an hour after I've hollered at him at the fair.
And I was gonna say I didn't remember Joshua Creek is where it happened. But
no, yeah. So,
I was like, I thought I was getting confused.
So like I'm waiting there, and like, dude, I'm starting to get tired because like my adrenaline is like running out. And finally, we hear over the next tail chitter chatter, he is going to the Nocatee Swamp to a party.
Okay.
He was seemingly avoiding me or uninterested in me or whatever. Didn't think I was worth his time, so he went to Nocatee Swamp.
He was just trying to have a good night.
Looking back, dude, I'm really going to give him the benefit of the doubt because I really think I was looking at things through a certain perspective that wasn't fully accurate. I might have just come off like a dickhead. Regardless, in my head, this dude hit my chick. Looking back, I don't know how true that is. But anyways, hey, he's at Nocatee Swamp. And like by this point, I have, what would you say, like probably 20 of my peers, maybe not close friends, but peers kind of show up at.
Oh, we're all like a little rat pack running around.
We all climb, me and Merce climb in Nick Barrera's truck. And we're headed down there. And now my brothers, and my all my adrenaline shot, it's gone going to Nocatee Swamp. Like I'm starting to think about stuff for the first time throughout all of this. And I'm like, man, this guy's older than me. This guy's bigger than me. This guy...
Once again, the consequences of my actions.
I start thinking about things I've heard about this guy. Like my girlfriend at one point saying like, oh yeah, he's a really good boxer. Like he's qualified in some state competitions or something like that. That starts getting in my head, and I'm like, I think I'm a pretty good boxer, but I ain't never qualified for no state competition. You know, I start thinking, so I go, all right, I'm gonna talk to like the foremost experts I know on kicking ass. And that's the people that have like kicked my ass most of my life. My brothers. My one brother's living in West Palm Beach at the time. My other brother's living in Texas at the ranch. So I think I start off with calling my brother Matt, who's in West Palm Beach. I go, Matt, I tell him the story I just told y'all. I'm out of energy and I'm kind of scared. And I've talked a lot of shit.
I can't get out of it now.
I am stuck. I'm not a fighter, and now all my adrenaline's gone.
But I am fully committed.
Like, I'm probably about to go get the shit beat out of me, but I'm going to go do it. And my brother Matt goes like, well, it's dark, right? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, there's probably going to be a fire. There's probably going to be people with their headlights on. So if there's people with their headlights on, the only like good chunk of advice I can give you is put your back to the headlights. And I go, all right. He goes, it'll be just a little harder to see you. He goes, right, just give you a little edge. All right. I call my brother Chris in Texas. He's like in the middle of a party. And, well, what's up, little brother? I go, I'm about to fight and I'm really scared. What can you tell me to do? And he goes, well, I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you what I would do. And what I would do is try to let him throw the first punch. Try. And he goes, and you reacting to that, if you're quick enough for it, you can counter it and really take him off. Now, I ain't never been no counter puncher. I'm a lower your head and just swing for the fences and hope it lands on something. All right. I'll take your advice, brother Chris. So I get to we're on our way to Nocatee Swamp, this mud pit on the south side of town that...
It's kind of a sketchy area, just big, sandy, swampy.
You might find Mormons going mudding. You might find
meth.
Yeah, anything in between those two things. So I get there, him and his pack's there. Cars are pulled up, lights are on. A lot more of my friends are starting to show up. A lot of my peers. And they're all like really pumped.
I can honestly tell you, I probably couldn't. I don't know how to get there to this day. Probably, I think I'd get in the ballpark area, but I'd have to drive around to figure out how to get there. I think it was the one and only time I ever went.
Dude, by the time I show up, I am terrified.
Well, we played some good pump-up music on the way.
Oh, no, dude. Yeah, that's right. Damn Nick Barrera. Damn Farva. On the way there, us riding with him, I'm like, Nick, I'm losing my adrenaline. I need some, like, stuff to pump me up.
This is before iPhones.
This is before iPhones. This is before YouTube.
You got a CD.
I was like, dude, you got any CDs? Like, I don't know, you work out. You got anything with, like, a workout mix on it? He goes, oh, like, abs. He goes, I got one workout rock mix. I go, oh, what you got? He goes, here it is, dude. It's the hardest stuff I got. And he puts it in. And I want to say it wasn't 3 Days Grace. It was a much gayer band than that because 3 Days Grace actually has some hits. But
it was something along those lines. It was like soft rock.
It wasn't making my way downtown, walking around. It wasn't that. It was 2 degrees separated from that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna die. This is all a bad decision, like terrible decision. So I get there. And we circle up, like there's a big, like a typical movie, like there's a circle of people, there's headlights, and then a guy that's on his side, who's also named Josh, comes up to me and goes, "Hey man, name's Josh, nice to meet you." And I'm like, "Nice to meet you." I'm a little shady. And he goes, "Hey, you know what, dude? You should put these in your hand." Oh, put what in my hand? He hands me 2 Bic lighters.
I was standing there for this conversation.
Yeah.
I thought it was like the most brilliant thing I'd ever heard.
Dude, and I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Oh, dude, if you put this in your hand and it makes your fist harder. It's like you're holding a little metal bar." And I go, "Aren't you his friend?" He goes, "Oh yeah, absolutely. But he talks a lot of shit, and I want to see him get the shit beat out of him." And I'm like,
everyone's got a friend like that.
I'm just like, "All right." And as soon as he turns around and walks away, I get this thought, and I'm like, man, like my adrenaline's still not there. I've tried to pick it up, and Tyler Nugent saw me do this, but before the circle thing, I walked by in a truck and literally slapped myself as hard as I could in the face 4 or 5 times, trying to get my adrenaline back. That's how tired I was. And he thought that was a little crazy, and probably was. Anyways, back to me, holding these lighters. See Rob across 10, 20 feet from me. I go, man, I'm about to get the shit beat out of me. I don't think it's really going to matter if I got lighters in my hand. If I get my ass kicked and these lighters fall out of my hand,
you're going to look even worse.
I'm going to look even worse. So just give them a spectacle in all your natural glory. And then my cousin, God bless him, comes out to me, and Rob takes off his shirt, and like, dude, he's pretty built. Like, he's got the pecs and like a 6-pack. Like, he works out. My cousin comes up to me and goes, "Josh, he took off his shirt. You should take yours off too." And I get mine up to about my shoulders. He goes, never mind. Keep it on. Just keep it on, dude. Keep that shirt on. You'll win. You'll be all right. And I'm like, oh, my confidence. This is even worse. On to the actual fight. I see headlights. I circle around to where my back is towards them, just like one of my brothers said, just like Matt said. And we come up, and I'm not even like a fake pump kind of guy. Like, that never goes through my head when I'm fighting. It's like, if you're gonna throw a fist, make sure you throw it and at least jab or hit. But I kind of fake pumped, thinking about letting him throw first. And dude, it's like the world slowed down to a crawl. I remember him rearing back, and like he kind of dodged like a little bit from my fake pump, but also reared back. And as he was swinging, I was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna move out of the way of this punch." And I like just kind of moved, like dodged to the left slightly, and he skint the top right of my head with a knuckle. I remember thinking the words, "That hurt, but not bad. Let me try punching him in the nose." I didn't even rear back or anything. I just kind of shot from the hip and jumped off the balls of my feet and threw a right. And I've just never, poor him, I've just never had a more perfect punch in my life to somebody's nose going up. He's taller than me, so I'm going up with it. And dude, I remember like feeling his nose crumble and blood squirting out. And then he threw his hand, like his other hand that he hadn't swung with, like he swung it downward. And like, not even like his top knuckle, but like his middle knuckle caught my lip and busted it. I remember thinking, oh, that one hurt. Like that just, he busted my lip open, like how. But then I kind of blank out a little bit because I go into kill mode. So by the way, my brother's advice was both excellent. They both worked perfectly. Because what then, Merce, from your point of view, watching it?
Oh, it was like the Simpsons. He's already dead. Because you just stood there, just straight up, and then just like RoboCop punched, like just. There's no rhythm to your movements. It's just like methodic robot fists.
And guys, like to this day,
and we thought, I'll be the first to admit, I thought you were gonna die. I was your friend. I was 100% gonna hype you up and have your back. But I thought we were taking you to the hospital.
I tell you what really pissed me off was the amount of like my friends, and like don't get me wrong, it was like a sign of support, but they were like, "Dude, when he starts beating your ass, we're gonna jump on him and fuck him up." And I'm like, first of all, when he starts beating, what? Like no, like dude, the ye of little faith. But secondly, like dude, if he's not killing me, no, don't do that. Yeah. Like don't be a bunch of fags about it. Let it be one-on-one. Jumping people is so.
It's dumb.
It's so dumb. That's despicable. But, yeah, dude, I think I, like, punched him in the face. That little hit on my lip was the last time he hit me.
Well, y'all shook hands afterwards. You didn't want to.
I think I spit on him.
You spit on your. You did something, and then we were like, no, shake hands, shake hands.
And like to this day, now I will straight up say this: I feel happier talking about me getting my ass kicked than me winning a fight, just because I don't. Especially looking back, like this girl I was really hung up on for a while, and I came to date her like later on as an adult, and I was like, oh, she's a lot more crazy than I thought. Like, I had a lot of stuff wrong. So looking back on this fight, I'm like, did I fight this dude for the wrong reasons? But anyways,
he didn't even know who you were. Just some kid at the fair just kidding me.
It's one of the few fights outside of like my family I've won. But it was a good one. I think I surprised a lot of people that day.
Oh, no, like I said, I thought you were going to die.
And to this day, like 99% of fights I've ever heard about are for the dumbest reasons. So I don't, to my kids listening to this in the future, try to stay the shit out of it. But if you get into it, hell, makes a fun story. Yeah, I beat him. I think I hit the dude like 20 times at least. Split him open pretty bad. And that was bad enough. Fast forward like 5 years later, I'm working on land we don't have anymore, but we used to call it out east. And I was working out there cowboying at the time. And there was literally, I had to ride out on my horse away from a storm to make it to inside of a barn. And I was the only one there. And it's like flooding, it's downpouring, it's white walls. That's what we call it when you just can't even see 20, well, you can't see 40, 50 feet out through the rain. And I know we were having fertilizer spread out there by a company at that time. And the fertilizer truck comes pulling up to the barn. And I see it's just kind of sits there for like 5 minutes. And I see the truck open. And I see a tall, lanky dude jump out and run up through the rain and run into the barn. And it's Rob. It's the guy I fought. And I haven't seen this dude in like 5 or 6 years. I'm probably like 22 or 23 at the time. This is right around the time I'm almost a dad. And, he walks up and sees me, and I see him, and we both like a little bit of a, what the hell's going on here? Like, both a little cockeyed, both looking, and he goes, it's a bad rain out there. I go, yeah, it is. And he goes, you mind if I sit here and get out of it? I'm like, I don't mind a bit. And we sat down at the picnic table, and just kind of chatted. And we did not talk about that fight. That was
just never had, just not even gonna go there.
Hey, all right, hang on. I did forget one thing. All right. Ethan.
Right.
All right, so this was, I must have found out, like I said, I found out about that fight after football practice. I got picked up at football practice by our friend Ethan, the most awesome genius redneck I've ever known.
You can't put him in a category.
The dude's a freak. And anyways, his mother had a Volkswagen Bug that was green and had eyelashes on the front flashlights and had daisy cutouts on the back brake lights. The reason I say all that, because Ethan was nice enough to give me a ride after football practice to where I needed to go. Like, I think on the way to the fair. And it's a convertible, too. So you can have the top. And we made a lap. He had to pick me up in that car. And we kind of we owned it while we did it. Like, yeah, dude, we're riding in the Bug or whatever. Well, dude, like, while we're riding in traffic, I see Rob in traffic. And
so you start talking trash.
I start staring him down like a psychopath. And it's like for a full 10 seconds, we're making eye contact. And he just starts breaking out laughing. I'm thinking in my head, like, what's so funny? And I look down at the car I'm in. I'm like, oh my God, Ethan, get me out of here. Let's leave. Let's leave Arcadia immediately. So yeah, guys, that was, I don't know. I didn't even intend for this to mostly be fight night, but I just wanted to stay away from current events and have some fun stuff to talk about. And that's some of the funnier stuff in my life I've talked about, lived through was fights. Maybe the next time we do one of these, it'll be some fun drunken shenanigans we share. We'll see. We'll play it by ear and see how it goes. But everybody, the typical, follow us on Twitter at Bandit Radio Hour. That same goes with Instagram, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, anywhere you get podcasts, even Spotify. Merce looking fancy with the digital cards, handing them out to people like a good salesman.
Please listen.
Yeah, please listen. Please share. Please subscribe. If there's a like button somewhere, even on a video like down there or something like that, yeah, do that for us. Helps out. And we'll be talking to y'all real soon. Bandit out.